What's up everyone, this is Trebus with the very first ever demo show. In this video I'm going to be playing Sniper Elite V2 and kind of giving you my thoughts and commentary on the gameplay, but before we do that, let's go ahead and watch the trailer. If you want to skip the trailer, just click the annotation at the bottom. Alright, let's get started, shall we? First of all, I just want to say the demo show is not intended to be a full review of the game. I'm just looking at a very small piece of the game. This is just the demo, so it wouldn't feel right at all for this to be really considered a full-fledged review. This is at best the first impressions of a very small part of the game. However, you know, you can take quite a few things from these first impressions, especially with the demo. They're trying to give you a well-balanced kind of view at what the game is going to be. Obviously they're not going to show you everything, but they are going to give you a nice little chunk of gameplay that's going to try to be representative of the rest of the game, so you can make some inferences about kind of how the game is going to play. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump into it. Sniper Elite V2 is a tactical third-person shooter by Rebellion. Rebellion were the same people that made the original Sniper Elite, which V2 is just a remake of the original. It's not really considered a sequel. I believe a lot of the plot and gameplay elements carry over, although I can't be sure because I didn't play the original Sniper Elite. My very first thoughts as soon as the game loaded was that I knew for certain that this was a port to PC and was originally intended for the consoles. And there's not necessarily anything wrong with that, although in a situation like this, if it's a hasty port, it can really get under my skin. I'm a big control freak. I want my controls to be tight and I want them to be made for a mouse and keyboard, and there's some really weird things going on with the mouse here. You see me going back and forth. This is me actually moving my mouse like across my table. It's really strange. Like the faster I moved the mouse, the slower I would look left and right. And so, not having any idea what was going on here, I went into the menu system, and what do I see? Well, I see control systems that you're gonna see in a console. Different sensitivity for X and Y. Why would I need that with a mouse and keyboard? It doesn't make any sense. Little sliders on the bars instead of having a number that I can put in there, so I just kind of have to guess where my sensitivity is going to be. That's not something that you see in a game that was originally developed or a game that was well ported to a PC, and sadly it was one of the pretty much the first thing I noticed about this game is the control scheme. There seemed to be some kind of like artificial limit put into how fast you could look left and right. So if I move my mouse really quick to the right and I want to just snap around and do a 180, I couldn't actually do that. And as someone that uses really low mouse sensitivity, having to make big mouse movements, it just didn't work. This system just did not work for the type of mouse controls that I like to have. For a game that emphasizes stealth so heavily, at least in the trailers and whatnot, I found that it really wasn't necessary in the demo. I pretty much found myself just treating it as just like, you know, shooting gallery, just killing people as quickly as I can. That said, the aiming and this kind of animation system was very, very gratifying. You know, when you line up that perfect shot, getting this kill cam and seeing exactly what's happening with your bullet is a very satisfying feeling, and it made the sniping, it gave the sniping something special that you don't really see in other games. If there's a stealth element here, which probably there's more of it as you get further in and probably as you get better, but if there is a stealth element, all of that ends when you take your first shot. As soon as you take that first shot, all the enemies are going to be aware of you, and it's just going to turn into a pretty standard firefight that you've played in a lot of different games. That said, the kill cams really do give you like a feeling of importance for each shot. It seems like every enemy has like a full bone structure and organs, and you can actually pinpoint very specific spots, and it'll show exactly where you're hitting. Like that one you saw a second ago, I hit them right in the femur bone, or there's others where you can hit people, you know, straight in the eye, which is kind of cool. If say it's another sniper who's looking at you, you can literally do that, you know, sniper movie scene shot where you're shooting through the rifle and then into the other guy's eye. So it really does give the combat something special, although it seems a little bit limited in that every fight is, at least from the demo, essentially feels the same, where you're pretty much going to use your sniper rifle the whole time. Maybe if someone gets close, you'll switch to a submachine gun, but they definitely want you using the sniper rifle for pretty much most, if not all, combat scenarios. There's a cover system that should be familiar to most gamers out there for a third-person shooter. It allows you to duck behind ledges or kind of hide behind a corner and then pop your head out. I've personally never been a fan of these cover systems. Maybe that's because I mostly play PC games, but for me it seems like cover it's like a point of uncertainty with my control scheme. Like, I talked about how I'm like a controls freak. I really want the controls to feel very certain. I want to feel confident in everything I'm doing is going to, do what I expect. And with the cover systems, it's always this question of like, oh, can I take cover there? There are obvious spots, like right here. Okay, I know that's going to be a cover location. I know if I hit Q, I'll attach to that wall, and then I can take cover. That's fine. But other places, there's uncertainty there. It's like, am I going to be able to crouch here? Is this going to be the spot that I think it is? What happens whenever I move around this way? Another cool kill cam there, obviously feels good. But yeah, I think it probably makes sense for a game like this to have this cover system, but just in playing, I kind of found myself just not wanting to use it, preferring rather to just move around on my own and take out this piece of uncertainty in the controls. Also with the movement, there's the noise factor of everything you're doing. If, pretty much as you're going slower, you generate less noise, and you can sprint, which is the loudest thing you can do. I never really figured out like the thresholds of what I could do and when people would notice me. I guess I just hadn't played it enough, but it seemed not really. I could never predict when someone was going to be able to hear me or not. Sometimes I would be doing just the fast walk and someone would hear me from hundreds of feet away, and then other times, like this guy, I was picking up ammo, climbing ledges, and moving rather fast. Once I spotted him, I did just slow down, but he didn't seem to notice me changing weapons or anything like that. So you can sneak up on people, and by hitting spacebar you can do the stealth kill. Beyond the occasional stealth kill though, I pretty much found that I would use my stealth to just kind of scope out the situation, and then as soon as I was in whatever spot I wanted to take them on from, I would take my first shot, and the battle would ensue from there. Overall, the visuals of the game were quite good. There's a lot of high-res textures. They did a good job of creating this very war-torn environment that you're in, at least in this part. And they didn't seem to abuse too much of the particle or bloom effects. Although one thing I did notice is there seems to be just stuff floating around all the time. Like there's these flakes floating around of, I don't even know what it is. Looks like burning something or other. And then just pieces of paper fluttering in the wind everywhere. If I had to nitpick anything, it would be that there was a bit too much of that. And it just kind of didn't really fit in with everything else. But overall, looks quite nice. One major pet peeve of mine is when developers abuse all those effects. They either have like way too much lens flare or these big bloom effects, maybe at the end of your gun or something. So luckily they didn't do too much of that, and it's a kind of nice balance of, you know, little smoke floating around here and there and rays of light tastefully added to certain spots. So overall, nice looking graphics. Again, it seemed like there was a little bit of inconsistency with the noise stealth aspect. You saw I shot that guy right in the chest with my sniper rifle, and the music did pick up. It sounded like people were alerted, knowing where I was, but no other enemies came. So again, I couldn't ever really figure out when I was being detected. The visual detection makes a little more sense. You'll see here in a second. Whenever an enemy spots you and you run away, it shows you a little outline of where they last saw you at. So you can use that information to your advantage. You can see where they're searching for you. Here you'll see in a second, that little outline there is where they last saw me. So theoretically you could use that to deceive the enemies, go to some place that is going to have a good vantage point for where they're last looking for you, and kind of use that as a stealth element. Again, after completely blowing my cover by throwing a rock at the enemy instead of a grenade, imagine my surprise when the rock, in fact, did not explode. I totally blow my cover, and the shooting gallery aspect of the game starts once again. The aiming, apparently there's different difficulties of the aiming. On the novice difficulty, pretty much the bullet is going to go to the center of your reticle every time. I'm playing on the medium difficulty, so you'll notice every time I scope in, whenever I hit E, which is the hold your or empty your lung thing to kind of steady your aim, when you hit E, you're given this red little box, and the box indicates where the shot is going to go. So here you'll see in a second, you get this little light red box that helps you aim. And honestly, I didn't really find it any more difficult using that box than just using any other normal crosshair. In the harder difficulty, I believe you still get that box for, this is for just the fall of the bullet. In the harder difficulty, you have to account for wind as well. I don't believe you get any indicators to show you where the bullet necessarily will go. You get like a little bar that says what direction the wind is going and how strong it is. So there's another little skill element there with each shot once you bump up the difficulty a little more. Bodies are lootable. You can take their ammo, and then you can also pick up each body and move it. I wasn't being stealthy enough that it really mattered to move the bodies, but I guess if you're going for that kind of style, then that is an option for you. The game does a good job of letting you know where your objectives are. There's a little yellow square wherever you're supposed to go, and you can just pretty much follow those. There will be a main square for where your objective location is, and then sometimes there's these like breadcrumb kind of trails that tell you where you are. Here you see I thought I picked up, I thought I got to my objective, but I had missed it. Quick look at the map brings me right back to where it is, and then these nice little indicators show me where I have to go for my next objective. For this mission, I'm placing bombs around a route around the city. There's going to be some scientist or something, I'm not sure exactly what it was, but some dude who we gotta blow up. The game takes place at like right near the end of World War II in 1945, and just from what little I understand of the story, apparently the Nazis have some secret weapons program. I think maybe the missile they're developing is like a V2 something or other. I believe it's a nuclear missile, and long story short, we're trying to stop the Nazis from developing these nukes. I'm probably totally butchering the story here, but I really don't care. It's a World War II shooter. I mean, how many times have we seen this? So many of the same scenarios play out over and over again. I'd be very surprised if they can do much of anything terribly innovative with the story. In my opinion, World War II has been kind of played out in terms of first-person shooters go. Unless you go the route of adding some sci-fi in there and really changing history, you know, you're pretty much stuck with the truthful historic events with maybe, you know, some changes here and there for plot elements. But in general, the kind of look and feel and the scenery of everything that's happening in World War II has been done 1,000 times. The AI in this game seems to be pretty off the wall. Sometimes they, you know, have actions that make sense. They'll, you know, they know where you are, so they're hiding behind things and trying to take as much cover as they can. They seem to do the very stereotypical thing where they'll leave, oh, part of his head is sticking out here, so you can still shoot it even if he's not actually in view. Apparently that was some bulletproof glass though, so I didn't get that guy. Other times the AIs do something that makes no sense. He's running straight towards me. Easiest kill in the world. Yeah, it seems to be pretty off the wall. Other times, see this guy, he's way out in the open. It's not very consistent with what they're actually doing. You can see it took me a while to figure out that you could actually have other things other than grenades. I thought, at the time of playing this, I thought I only had grenades and F was the grenade button. Much to my surprise, I've been throwing rocks consistently. So perhaps I should play through again, and there were more weapons in the game that I didn't ever use. There's like mines and tripwires. I didn't even know they existed during my initial playthrough, so that's my fault for not trying those. I'm not sure how useful they would have actually been. Rocks apparently you can use if you want to try the stealth element more, then you can use the rocks as a distraction. Throw a rock in one place, they go search over there, and then maybe you sneak up behind them and snap their neck, or your pistol, I believe, is a silenced pistol, although I didn't use it at all in this playthrough either, because once again, at the time, I had no idea it was silenced. Other stealth stereotypes like, oh, the sleeping soldier, so I, sneak up to him and break his neck, or I'm not actually sure what I did there. I think I just punched him in the jaw really hard. I can kill people like that? I don't know. The thing coming up that I honestly craved more was the sniper battle. I wanted to be in this real high-risk situation where, oh, there's another sniper across the yard, and if he gets one shot on me, then I get killed, and then, I have to make sure my shot lands. There wasn't really any of that in the demo, and part of that is because you could just take so many hits that if someone hits you with a sniper shot, then you just back around a corner. It's got the health system where you just stay, you don't take damage for a little bit, and then your health comes back. So it's not very punishing whenever you're in this battle against another sniper. There's so many great sniper movies and just war movies in general with snipers involved where there'll be a scene. I was reminded of The Hurt Locker was a recent example of this, but the scene where you're hiding from the sniper. You know that there's a sniper somewhere very far away, oftentimes miles, depending on the technology of the guns at the times. But there's a sniper somewhere. You don't know where he is. You're pinned down in one spot, and the only way to figure out where the sniper is to stick your head out, which clearly can get you killed. So it's this really intense situation that I was sad to see that this game really failed to capture. It was something I was looking forward to in a sniper battle, and I didn't get any of that feelings of intensity from this game at all. For a game called Sniper Elite, I was pretty disappointed by the actual significance of the sniping. It kind of just felt like I was playing any other game, except I was preferring to use a long-range rifle. It really didn't capture any new elements of sniping that I hadn't already seen. Just a small critique of the environments. Nope, that was not a solid area. It looked solid, but it wasn't. You know, not a huge deal, but a little bit frustrating when that does happen. Luckily, those objective breadcrumbs that they leave you did show me the correct location. Said, oh, you're going the wrong spot, and showed me that, yeah, I should be going up here. So that is something I definitely appreciate. I don't like feeling lost in a game where I'm not really sure where I should be going, and those little breadcrumbs help a lot. So besides being just a competent third-person shooter, I couldn't help but be a little bit disappointed. I personally was looking more forward to the intensity of those kind of sniper battles that I was talking about, and the game really failed to deliver on that. Is that my fault for having unrealistic expectations, or the fault of the developers for not delivering there? I'm not really sure, but overall I was not blown away by much of anything in this game. I will say the kill cam system and this little x-ray thing they do, it looks like a gimmick and it functions like a gimmick whenever you're watching like a trailer or they're doing some kind of promo or something. You look at it and you say, oh, okay, that's the gimmick they use. But I give it a little more credit than that, because it gives you this feeling of every shot that you make really does matter, and as you're lining up your shots, you know, you're trying to be very careful with them. So getting to see exactly what happens with each shot that you spend so much time setting up is actually a really gratifying feeling, and it didn't get old over the course of the demo. I don't know if maybe it would get tiring playing through the entire game, but I did actually enjoy that part quite a bit. Okay, so that, my friends, is Sniper Elite V2, available on Steam for $50, or you can play the demo for free like me. Please leave me a comment and let me know what you thought of this style of video. It's something that I've never done before, so I will of course be reading all your comments and taking all the feedback into consideration, and let me know if you enjoyed this, what you didn't enjoy, what you'd rather see. So thanks for watching. GG.